Let's see. I'm using LD Player. I mean, it depends on what emulator you use, but this is called it's called Operation Recorder and LD Player, and these are where recorded macros go. I have 4 that I use constantly. Sometimes I'll make a new one for like different farming, but these are the 4 that I use a whole bunch. First one is just a middle click, so it just clicks in the middle constantly. Second one is farming, basic farming. So this one will just actually it'll just run back and forth and hit the attack button. So for things you can one-shot without worrying, you can just use this, and I'll show you how to make it in just a second here. But that's all this will do. It'll just go back and forth and it'll auto attack. That's what I use for like early, like basically farming the airport. Or shit I could just kill easily. So I don't use that one terribly often except for re-rolling. This bottom right is what I usually, well, it's basically the same thing as the middle, but it clicks to the right down here. So usually I use this for skipping dialogue unless I know there's a fight. Then you could just use the middle one. So if I know there's a fight coming, I'll use the middle one, and then I'll just click in the middle to skip through all the dialogue. And the bottom right is to skip dialogue when I know there's not a fight. And then the last one is the one I use the most, which is Joker farming, and I'll show you what that does. It does essentially the same thing as farming, but it will run back and forth, and it will hit Joker. It'll swap out my last person in the party to swap in Joker, and I'll just use Joker's auto attack and do that forever, as long as you can survive. You can make more intricate ones. But I found that basic ones like this work best. But what I'll also have sometimes, I don't have right now, but I also set up one for mana farming, which is swapping mana in and then doing AoEs. I will say watch out for this area. Try to click not in this area if at all possible, so you don't do some shit you don't want to be done. And also try to stay away from the middle area too if possible, because you don't want to spend gems if you die or anything like that. So I'll show you what I do. I'll make a new one. I'll make a new Joker one, and I'll show you how that works. So I'm going to start Joker, and I'm going to click on this right corner over here and move around. Back and forth, so because nothing really happens in this bottom right corner, so it's a good place to click. And once you've clicked and drag, you can drag around without having to worry about it clicking on anything. And then click and drag around a little bit longer than the actual fight, just so to give it time to make sure that you actually get a fight. And just go left and right, left and right, left and right. And then give it a second just in case for it to load. And then I like to click on like the top corner right here so it doesn't hit anything, and then click on like the bottom corner like right around here. Switch, then hit Joker, and then hit attack. Let it do its attack animations and all that stuff. And then you want to give everything. You want to give everything extra, a little bit, like a second or two extra, if not longer, just to be sure. And then hit click, and then there's a stop. So it's a minute-long thingy. It's my script, and then you can name it something if you want to, whatever. And then I go and I set it to till manual stop. And hopefully you can see this. Yeah, you can see this. Just make sure you see this. And then once you're there, hit save, and then you can just hit play, and it will repeat the sequence forever until you stop it. I mean, you could also make it so it only goes for a certain amount of time. But you can macro a lot of other things as well. Like you could do even long processes. You can macro an entire dungeon run if you really wanted to. You just gotta keep in mind of things of you want to do a little bit extra if you're planning on macroing and just letting it go and not watching it. So like if say like Miglins for example, I would say like do your 6 fights, but definitely give a lot of ample time for RNG and possible loading times. But yeah, this is working fine here. And that's my Joker. Obviously, it could be, tidied up a little bit more, but that's the general idea of recording a macro and running it. And that's it. Yeah, that's how you do a macro for another Eden in most